Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the HeyQP podcast. I'm QP and I have a very special guest for you today. One of my good friends, tight end for the Bishop McDevitt Crusaders and recent UConn commit. I forgot to text you and congratulate you about that, by the way. Mr. Liam Fuller, how are you doing today, brother?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm excited to sit down and talk with you for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. All right, so basically, how would you describe yourself as a football player to somebody who's never seen your tape?
Man, I would like to say I'm a very versatile football player, especially at the tight end position. I mean, just kind of comes with the position. You got to be able to do multiple things. But I'd like to tell people that I can, I thrive in blocking and getting down the field, catching the ball and all that stuff. And I think that's, part of the reason where I got to where I am now. So I would say, yeah, very versatile in the run game, in the pass game. I can run routes from outside, attached in the slot. Like I can do it from all over the field. So I would tell someone I'm very versatile and I can make blocks on the outside, the interior, out of the backfield. So I just really like to say it. I think my tape proves that I can do it all. So, that's what kind of how I would describe myself, to someone who, would ask that question.
I 100% concur with that. I mean, as you know, I've watched you from the sideline probably a dozen times now. But even talking to like scouts who were there watching you and your teammates, that's how they described you. It's like very versatile and can do just about anything. Gotcha. But anyways, you're measured at roughly 6'5", 240, right?
Right now, I weighed in, I'm about 6'6", I'm about 233, 235 right now.
Oh, dang. Sorry about that. I didn't give you your extra inch. But anyways, that's an athletic frame you got there. Were your parents former athletes, or did you just happen to be this large?
Yeah, so I have on my mom's side of the family, everybody's has good size. Believe it or not, like if I go to a family cookout, I'm not the tallest one or biggest one or any of that. So,
yeah, you've told me that before, and it's still crazy to believe.
Yeah, so and my mom was a Division I basketball player at Temple University, so that's definitely something Coach Weck made known to coaches in recruitment and stuff. It kind of, the athleticism kind of runs through the family, so I'm grateful, that to have those good genetics from my mom.
Oh, certainly. Did you play any other positions growing up?
So I was actually, growing up, I was a quarterback. It's not till I moved to the Central Penn Crusaders, the McDevitt youth team.
Yeah.
That day, I started playing tight end. So I was a quarterback for my first few years of football growing up, and I played defensive end as well. So, kind of, I'd like to say it's kind of like a Tyler Warren situation. I mean, obviously it's not the same because, his was in college, but I like to say, some quarterbacks can, turn into some good tight ends. So
Definitely.
I like to think, being a big quarterback, definitely contributed to, being a tight end.
I mean, like even talking to Stone before, it's like when he told me it's like he could always count on you to be where you needed him to be. It was like kind of like another quarterback out there type situation. But anyways, you said you started out as a quarterback before you made the move to the Central Penn Crusaders. Where would you have grown up playing ball if you didn't end up going to I guess you could call it the McDevitt system?
So, I grew up in the Central Dauphin East School District.
Gotcha.
I played youth ball at Good Shepherd on the West Shore.
That was
I don't even know if they're even still a program, but growing up, I played at Good Shepherd up until maybe I was around like my second Coney year of youth football. So that's kind of where I got everything started and started playing when I was 5 years old, and that's where got the ball rolling with the whole football thing.
That was in the old Central Football Association or something like that, the CFA.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
Yeah, there's There was some ball players come out of the CFA, but anyways, well, this kind of that last answer kind of leads into this next question. When did McDevitt, or the thought at least, first come on your radar? Yeah.
Yes. So I both of my parents went to McDevitt. It was kind of always, there wasn't really I was kind of always going to go to McDevitt. I went to a feeder school, growing up, and that's where I went to grade school at St. Catherine's, kind of right down Derry Street. So there was really never a doubt, McDevitt's where I, wanted to go throughout everything. And, when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a basketball player.
That's crazy.
So then the football stuff kind of just worked out. And the older I got, the more I was like, wow, football is like way cooler,
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I thought. So it kind of just worked out, with McDevitt being the powerhouse they are. But yeah, there was no question I was going to be a McDevitt Crusader no matter what. Yeah,
it's just in your blood, clearly. Just as Coach White calls it, you were always meant to be a McDevitt man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, growing up as a high-level athlete, I'm sure at one point or another you had a moment where you thought to yourself, it might be easier to quit right now, but I'm going to push through. Like, is there a moment that description, like, fits for you that you can remember?
Yeah, so I would say in 7th and 8th grade, my 2 midget years of youth football, as I'm sure you know, there's weight limits in youth football.
Yeah, there is.
And, I was always a tall kid, so the coaches told me, like, listen, we want you to play tight end, but, I was maybe 180 pounds, and, like, probably 6'3". So, as a kid, they're like, we want you to play tight end, but, the weight limit, so I had to cut down to 165. And that wasn't easy, that kind of losing weight that young and kind of doing the extreme kind of, because you got to drop that weight in only, a matter of 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, 15 pounds, that's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. So then doing that, and then, 8th grade wraps up, and now I'm going to high school saying I'm a tight end at 175 pounds, Yeah, we were kind of going, or like my parents and I were talking, like, okay, we got to figure something out, talking to Coach Weck really, and kind of finding a way. And then, so I probably finished up my freshman year at maybe around 185, and then came back in the summer to my sophomore year at around 225. So we figured everything out and kind of got it. But I would say, kind of losing the weight, and, losing the weight was great, because it was good. Felt very athletic, I was playing basketball and all that stuff. Like, that was fun.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had to make a business decision. I was like, if football is what it's going to be, then, we kind of gotta get after it. 185 is not going to cut it as a tight end in the Commonwealth.
Oh, certainly not, no. So you said it's just like, how did you put that weight back on, going from like 185, like you said, as a freshman in high school, to getting to like a healthy 225? Because like you said, 185 in the Commonwealth, you're a receiver if you're lucky. Mm-hmm. So like, how did you go about putting that weight back on?
Yeah, again, that I would argue was harder than losing the weight, if I'm going to be, honest with you. It's, you kind of have to make eating a job. You're not eating, when you're hungry or when you want to eat. You're just eating constantly. Like, pretty much every hour you're awake, you got to eat something. So that was definitely a big part of it. And, trying to make sure it's also good weight. So, you're in the gym 6 days a week, kind of just really pounding away at all that stuff. Because, you can get big but kind of lose the athleticism, which I would say that I kind of did at first.
Yeah.
And then kind of matured and grew into my body. And then, kind of figured everything out as I got older, kind of maintaining the weight.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, it's definitely, it's not for the faint of heart, It's very,
definitely
it's
not
very easy, or it's not very easy. Kind of, just eating every hour of the day and, kind of all kinds of supplements and stuff and lifting. And, after a while, it takes a toll on the body. But once you kind of hit your goal, you can kind of plateau it out and, kind of just roll with it instead of having to keep constantly being on that weight gain. And then, I've gained 10, 15 pounds since then, and that's just kind of all been natural. I haven't really been trying. It's just kind of happened naturally, kind of through as I'm, able to lift heavier and working out more. So, yeah, the weight gain journey is definitely not easy, but I'm so happy I, made the decision to do it, and it just worked out great.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it did. It was but the big part of what you were just talking about there, it's making sure it's clean weight. You can't just get in the cabinet, pull out just a pack of crackers or something. It has to be solid, good foods you're eating to put on that size.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. What was the first moment you realized, okay, I might be a pretty good athlete?
Man, just as an athlete, I would say, I dunked a basketball for the first time at 13 years old.
Jesus.
So that's kind of when I was like, wow, maybe I can, really do something. My jumping has always been kind of my strongest thing. That's why I feel like the PIAA is nerfing me a little bit with this no hurdling rule. But
a little bit, yeah.
But so that's kind of when I figure wow, I have the athleticism to do this. I'm kind of more football based. My freshman year, I had a very kind of normal high school kind of growth in football. I wasn't I walked in as a freshman and made all this noise my freshman year. That's not the case. I was a JV player my freshman year, but just tearing it up on the JV field, I was like, whoa, it's actually, running around scoring touchdowns is fun, and I have a huge advantage because of my size.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, yeah, this is something I really want to do, and kind of took it from there. So I'd say those two kind of moments were the big ones, because I got that first dunk at 13, and I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Oh, I'm sure it was. That's crazy, man. So were you around 6 feet then?
I was probably 6 foot on the dot. So it's not like I was just it's not like I was now and I haven't grown. No, I was probably 6 feet. So it wasn't, just being crazy tall,
Yeah, it was.
Still have some bounce at 6 feet to get up there.
Oh, definitely. Athleticism had to have played a big part in that. I got you. So who was your first offer?
So my first offer, I'd say it was the University of Buffalo.
Gotcha. And what was that experience like? You finally finally getting recognized for the work you've done.
It was, man. I have to think. I've never been asked this question before, but man, I would say it was just. It's sort of like an out-of-body kind of experience. I couldn't even put it really into words, because it was very unexpected. So the junior day went great, but we were on a bunch of junior days before that were uneventful.
Yeah.
But we were up there and kind of just being around the staff and the guys. It was a great time. Then at the end, we got to talk to the head coach and the tight ends coach, and we had recruiting guys coming all in the position meeting room and stuff. And I was kind of looking at my parents like, whoa, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So we went out to talk to the head coach and kind of got it. And, all of my parents and I were looking at each other like, did that just happen? So it's a surreal feeling. And, you kind of just reflect. That's once I got sat in the car, kind of just reflected, I worked,
Yeah.
kind of stayed the blueprint, and finally, all this work's finally paying off. But, I kind of, on the contrary to that feeling, you're also okay, but now we got to ramp it up.
Exactly.
Here come expectations and all this stuff. So, it was great, but it's also, okay, now we got to get back. Need to get back to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania and do some work and make, kind of show everybody that, Buffalo didn't make a mistake.
Exactly.
So, that's what I'm still what I'm doing now, with everything. The recruiting process was was awesome, but now I'm locked in, and now I'm trying to show UConn that, they got the right guy and they made a great decision, and kind of carry that with me going into the season.
Well, yeah. Well, like I told you last year, man, as soon like when they start coming in, they're gonna start coming in, and right after Buffalo, like you said, was your first. Like you were posting a new offer on your Twitter almost every day. It seemed like.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Gotcha. And who would you say you model your game after?
Oh man. So I grew up in the prime Gronk era. So you got to go there. But a huge one for me. You're a Notre Dame fan, so it's perfect.
Yes, I am.
I loved Michael Mayer at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I met Michael Mayer. That's who, growing up, I'm not even growing up, because he was kind of when I was in 8th grade was kind of when he was doing everything. Mm-hmm. But man, I hope he can do some more in the pros. But, at Notre Dame, watching those games every Saturday, man, Michael Mayer was he was something to watch, man. I loved, that's who I wanted to be like, when I started playing the tight end position. I've watched a lot of his film, trying to model myself after his stuff, because, man, I just love the way Michael Mayer plays the game. I think he's like the most prototype tight end. I think he's a lot like George Kittle.
Oh, 100%.
So I think, that's probably who I'd have to go with personally.
I get that. So, and when did you meet Mayer? Like on a visit to Notre Dame?
So we were just going out for a game, and my sister actually is a team manager. So
that's awesome.
I got to go in at the end of a practice and see him and get a jersey autograph. Man, it was crazy. It was just crazy getting to see him practice and stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of looking and seeing what, the standard is. Watching those kind of guys. But yeah, man, Michael Mayer, he was a dog. He was a dog for the Irish.
Yeah, yes, he was. Oh, some of my best memories watching college football, huh? Okay, I better not ramble about that too much, because as you know, I'll get off topic easily. Anyways, just a few more questions for you, and then we'll wrap this up. I will talk to you a little bit more before I let you go. But anyways, I'm sure you had. Well, sorry. That you already answered that. Why UConn? Like, it's just, I know you had told me before that you talked to their tight ends coach a good bit. But just, why, what was it about UConn that made you think, I want to be a Husky?
Yeah, so I took, including my official visit, 3 visits up there.
Yeah.
And I would say I haven't seen a culture anywhere else like I've seen at UConn. And that is a culture where the team is so integrated and everybody's so close, it seemed. No matter what position group, this, that, the third. Even talking to guys I've gotten phone numbers from tight ends on the team now, and those guys answer me every time I reach out.
That's what's up.
It's great. And honestly, I think the program is on the rise. I mean, there's people telling me Liam, your recruitment's great, but you could go camp or hold out for a Power 4 program. And I'm like, UConn's a Power 4 program. It just hasn't happened yet. They're going to be. They're on an insane trajectory. I think Coach Mora is really doing some great things with that program. I think all the assistants are great. And what another thing for me that I loved about UConn and about recruitment is they didn't have to fake anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They didn't have to fake anything. What they had is what they had, and they would tell you, this is what we got, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. But this is what we have to offer. And I was like, well, it's plenty for me. So, I kind of jumped all over the opportunity. But hands down, the best facilities, the best coaching staff, just the best situation for me as a player. So, yeah, I would say that's really what it was. I mean, they showed a lot of love, went up to my OV and, did a lot of great stuff up there. I mean, their coach, so their tight ends coach, I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but their tight ends coach, he got clips of their game film
Uh-huh.
and then would get clips from my film and like put them side by side, and they would look exactly the same.
That's
and he was
awesome.
like, that's why we feel like you could. And I was like, I was just sitting there watching it like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I would like, that was really just like, wow. So
Yeah.
I just think the situation where the trajectory, the coaching staff, the facilities, just everything,
Uh-huh.
it was a no-brainer.
Well, yeah. And it's like Coach Mora, he has a history of building programs. I mean, well, me and you are about the same age. When we were probably in you in 4th and me in 5th grade, Miles Jack was one of the best two-way players in the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in the day. But anyways,
Absolutely.
To steal a question from one of my podcast idols and a tight end you've probably met at some point throughout your travels as a high-level player in the mid-pen, Adam Brenneman.
Yeah, he actually helped me with my film, man. I love Adam Brenneman. He's helped me out a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. But anyways, like I said, what's your why?
Oh man. Hold on.
Take your time.
That's another good question.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I would say my why is, I mean, I was a kid who just loved playing sports, and I honestly didn't start with a why, but the more I kind of go through kind of learning how to become like a man in life and all this stuff, I would say that, you gotta really challenge, like you gotta be able to challenge yourself. And I would say my why is to kind of prove to myself that I can do difficult things and I can make it through difficult things. I'm trying to take up a big leader role on this team this year. So, I think it's huge that, I'm got to do all my stuff, but I also have to help a great group of guys that we have at McDevitt, kind of get through stuff. So I think one of my whys is kind of showing myself that I can do difficult things and show everyone around me that I'm capable of challenging myself and being the best version of myself that I can be, because I feel like that's just going to kind of help me the most, throughout life. So I'm trying really heavily to, take stuff you can learn in football and kind of trying to understand the values and the life lessons you get from them, because I mean, a big one for me is kind of being dependent on other people. There's some people that can't do that, but there's some people that can. But, in a workforce, you have to depend on other people to get stuff done.
Yes,
and
you do.
The best way you can do that, and Coach Weck was actually talking about it pretty recently, is preparation. You're never nervous if you're prepared. So kind of just making sure everyone around me is all good and everybody's locked in and prepared and focused on the common goal. I feel like then you can, get some big stuff done. And I think we can, as a team, get some huge stuff done this season. So I would say, yeah, that's probably my why, is being able to challenge myself and prove to people around me and myself that I can do difficult things.
That was moving, brother. I'm not going to lie. All right, we'll stop the recording and then I'll let you go here in a little bit.